The thing is, Siri is always listening.
Mm-hmm.
Smart speakers have become way more popular in the recent years. Much like myself, most of you likely have a Google Home or an Alexa, maybe even multiple. Being deeply into the Apple ecosystem myself, I finally decided to try out the HomePod Minis. What's going on, guys? Javier here with Minimalistic. So today I've got these new Apple HomePod Minis. They're not entirely new, being released in 2020, but they're definitely new to me. While they recently released a bunch of new colors, I still picked up the original black colored ones as they definitely go best with my office setup. I ended up getting 3 of these to try out the different features, which I'll go over in a little bit. In the box, it's pretty simple. You get a 20-watt brick and the HomePod itself. Now from the get-go, my first thought is how this speaker looks. In Apple fashion, the speaker looks like an accessory to your home versus a piece of tech. The design is minimal, and of course, you can place it almost anywhere you want, as long as it's in reach of a plug. They've gone with a soft fabric material on the outside. I'm guessing this is for sound purposes. The cable is a thick braided cable that connects via USB-C to the charging brick, but it is fixed to the HomePod itself, and it can't be removed. Not that you'd ever see it, but the bottom is grippy with an Apple emblem. The top end, of the black version at least, is black glass with volume touch controls, this nice visual indicator, as well as play and pause. If you get the white or colored versions though, the top is white. The HomePod is super tiny and minimal to the point where there are no buttons or switches, not even a microphone control, so you definitely can't mute the mic if that's something you're into. Same with any Apple device, setup is super easy. You will need another device for setup, as with any home speaker. For this, you just bring your iPhone close to the speaker and the prompt to set up is brought up. From here, you can choose where the device is. In this case, I put this one in my living room. Through the setup, you can ask what things the HomePod can do and it'll give you a brief breakdown. For myself, I put, again, 1 in my living room and 2 in my office for the stereo setup. Stereo pairing is as easy as ever using the Apple Home app. If you have 2 in the same room, the settings then allow you to pair 1 as left and 1 as the right. Easy as that. The HomePod, of course, is a smart home device, meaning it's packed with features, some of which you might not use, but they're nice to have. Outside of the initial setup, they are designed to be all hands-free, although the touch controls are still available to you. You have volume up and down, you can press pause and play, as well as hold for Siri if you need it. The touch panel has this beautiful backlight that sort of replicates the Siri is listening animation you get on other Apple products. If it hears a command, it'll light up with an indicator and play a sound, although those can be removed through your HomePod settings. One of the coolest features the HomePod has that I haven't seen in other smart home speakers is the proximity handoff. For myself, it's handy when I move from my living room to the office, where I can pull what I'm listening to in the living room and hand it off to my office speakers. This is one of those fun features, but honestly, I feel like handoff is only needed because it seems Apple doesn't have as good continuity that you would find with, say, Google Home and using Spotify. Something else you can do as well is just use AirPlay to your HomePods for whatever you're watching or listening to. It's kind of neat, but I haven't really found myself using this feature. I feel like it's, again, more of a nice to have versus a prominent feature. The best feature I personally wanted for these was the stereo pairing. As I mentioned, setup was super easy. I wanted this in my office for the size and the aesthetic primarily. While I'm certain there are better sounding speakers for the price, these certainly do well for me. When it comes to other smart features, the HomePod really works well with controlling Apple TV in my living room. Simple commands like playing certain shows work well, although not always perfect. For some reason, it doesn't like playing Netflix directly. I'm unsure why that is. Beyond that, it's good to have control over the nano lights in my office. I can ask for specific colors, change the brightness, or simply turn them on and off on my way out. In terms of overall connectivity, I find it's best used when you've got Apple Everything. I mean, you can play Spotify through these by using the app directly, but you can't voice command Spotify to work through Siri. It's not a big deal, but chances are if you're watching this video, you likely have a couple Apple products kicking about. As for sound, these things have no right sounding as good as they do for their size. It's hard to do it justice, but these speakers run circles around my Google Home or Nest Mini. Even compared to dedicated Bluetooth speakers, it does incredibly well. That being said, these are most definitely more expensive, almost 3 times the cost. So it would be up to you to determine if it's worth that price. For myself, I enjoy Apple products and the seamlessness between them. For me, it is worth it. The volume is great, stereo setup sounds large and full, and even standalone, the bass is excellent. Quick mention to some other features. The HomePod can recognize up to 6 family members, which is nice. My wife frequently will add things to specific reminder lists or calendars. As well, the broadcast feature is super useful. If I'm in the basement, I can broadcast to the whole house through my phone instead of getting up. Again, first world problems. In regards to privacy, Apple says nothing is stored and full privacy is in effect, but honestly, just like Alexa's and Google Home, the thing is, Siri is always listening. Now, talking about some things I would change is honestly the price for a start. If you want to get into any smart home speaker setup, it would cost you a fraction of what the HomePod costs. The barrier to entry is real here. A nice to have would be a mute switch for the microphone, but I feel like that would detract from the whole hands-off experience. If a family member flips the switch or it gets moved on accident, I can see that causing some frustrations with the user experience. The biggest change I'd want would be a removable cable. While the cable is high quality, if my cat chews through this cable, the entire HomePod is useless. A removable cable just seems like the right thing to do in this scenario. Overall, I'm really happy with how the HomePod Minis turned out. I've been eyeing them since launch, but never pulled the trigger due to the price, since I did also already have Google Home speakers about. Still, I'm happy I've got them, and I wouldn't really go back. They work really well for me being so Apple integrated, and they really do fit my aesthetic perfectly. Okay, so you made it to the end of this video. Please let me know, where would you put this in your house? If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like. If you loved it, a sub would be amazing. Anyways, that's been it. Thanks for watching. Till next time.